Dear Father, please allow me to be used by you today. Please allow me to say the right words, do the right things to glorify your name. Please let me speak to the people and not only speak to their ears, but speak to their hearts. And please guide me. In His name I pray, amen. So today I'm going to be talking about the Trinity. And I'm also going to be introducing the series that we're doing right now called Windows to God. So this is going to be a rhetorical question, so you don't have to raise your hand or anything. But how often do sometimes some of us walk into church and then we just shut off our minds and we listen, but we don't take it in? We hear the seventh day is the Sabbath, not the first day. Then they go on with the list of verses. Then we hear that the Ten Commandments were not abolished at the cross, you still need to keep them. That's true. But does that have any meaning to us? We hear these facts. Investigative judgment began in 1844, and your name could come up any minute. When we die, we're really dead. These are all doctrinal truths for us as Seventh-day Adventists. Jesus is coming soon, and we shall be ready when it happens. And don't forget that you should become a vegetarian, pay tithe every month, and stop watching TV, get baptized in full immersion. These are facts. These are just words to our ears. And they don't have any real meaning to us, because there's something missing. And that's because these are not the truth. Well, they are the truth, but they're not all of it. And when you don't have all the truth, you can be dissuaded and persuaded to think the wrong things. Now it says here in Ephesians 4:21 that if indeed you have heard him and have been taught by him, the truth is in Jesus. The truth is Jesus, not just these doctrinal truths that you memorize and argue about with other people of your faith. The truth is the love of Christ and how our relationship with him will help us develop from sinners to saved. John 8:32, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. We should know the whole truth, not just part of it, because Satan can take that part of the truth that we know and twist it into something that's completely wrong and off track. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. All these verses are saying the same thing, that Jesus is the truth. Not just the facts that we list. Oh, we shouldn't eat pork. Oh, we should rest on the Sabbath. These we all know. But sometimes we focus too much on the doctrines and not enough on Jesus. It's really important. The truth without Jesus. Now that's an interesting topic. It can be really, really dark. It looks like raw data. It looks like a list of facts that you can just go online and read, that anyone can just go on a presentation. They can just read it to you. Here is this, here is that, here's a bunch of verses. It's not personal to you. There's no connection you have with it. There's no character. The character of Jesus is what livens it. There's no heart to it. There's no reason for you to believe it. There's no reason for you to love God when it's just a list of facts and rules that you have to follow. These are just regulations. And that is what the world sometimes thinks of Jesus. It imposes guilt and arouses fear. They think that since maybe they haven't followed all the rules, they haven't followed all the doctrines, they're not going to be saved. And it just scares them away from Christ and away from what we really want to share with them. The truth that Jesus cannot save, heal, or transform the human heart because they'll turn away from it, they'll be feared. In 2 Corinthians 3:6, Paul states that who also made us sufficient as ministers of the new covenant, not the letter, but the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. This is showing that the letter, which Paul's referring to as the rules, the doctrines, those are what kill the people. They're what fear them. But then the Spirit, the love of Christ afterwards, is what rebirths them. And that's what we want to share with them. We don't want to share with them just the fear, the condemnation. We want to share with them the life that you get afterwards in moving on. John 1:14, and I highlighted the most important part. And we beheld his glory, the glory as the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. See, what we need here is the truth, for sure. The doctrines we believe, those are the truth, and then we need a little something more. We need the grace of Jesus to make it complete. Now let's think of God right now. Take ourselves out of the picture. Just imagine God as an octagonal building with 8 sides, and each wall has a window in it. So the windows, each of them have a different doctrine. And here are the 8 windows to God. Number 1 is the Trinity, the great controversy, the law of God, the Sabbath, the sanctuary, death and hell, the end times, and second coming. These are all the points that we will be talking about in the series, and the next time it'll be about the great controversy. So be ready for that. Let me elaborate on that. See, each passageway, each window, the window, when you make a window, why do you make it? Do you make it because it looks nice on your wall? Is it like a decoration? No, you use it to look outside, you use it to let the air through, right? And that's what the windows to God here, the windows should act as. They should act as windows to God, not what we think of God in itself. They should be passageways to our Creator, and they should not be what we're wholly focusing on instead of Jesus himself. We can get caught up in the Sabbath rules, and then we can be thinking, oh, I have to keep the Sabbath, and then we might not help a brother out if they're in trouble because we're busy keeping the Sabbath, or we're too busy condemning people because they're not following each of these doctrines themselves. And that's not what we as Christians should be doing. That's not what Jesus has enlisted us to do. In 1 John, it shows right here that God is love, and that's the main topic. And God's love is what in compassion. His compassion is what allows us to not just be sinners, but become saved through Him. And I just want to elaborate on that. And here, Ellen G. White herself has talked about how the misrepresentation of Christ has happened in the world today. Because people are too busy thinking of Christ as these rules and these objectives that you have to follow, the 10 Commandments, we have to follow each of them, and they're stopped by that. They don't listen to the full idea. They don't listen to the full truth that through these rules we can live a better life. Through these rules we can show the love of God to others, and following them we can essentially share with others the love of God. And it says here that the darkness of misapprehension of God is enshrouding the world. Men are losing knowledge of His character, and He has been misunderstood and misinterpreted. His character has been made to known into the darkness and wants the world to shed the light on His glory, the light of His goodness, mercy, and truth. And she just elaborates on that. And that's the problem with the world today. They're given the wrong truth. But who's giving the wrong truth? It's the ministers of the churches. They're telling them half of the story, and that's why people are being scared away. And we should be able to tell them the whole truth, and not just tell them the truth, but show them the truth by being kind and loving and affectionate to those around us. In Genesis 1:1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Now this shows that God predates everything else in the universe. He is by Himself. Now, let's just keep our minds on that, and let me talk about this experiment. Lock yourself in the bathroom for the rest of your life. And this is just, you don't have to really do it when you get home. Just imagine. And so lock yourself in the bathroom for the rest of your life, let's say. Do you think that you'll experience love? What do you guys think? No. Because love is interpersonal, right? It requires more than one person. And this love requires more than one person. And that's what we're going to build on in the Trinity. It says right here, all things were made through Him, and without Him nothing was made that was made. So God was the creator of all things, just like Genesis 1 stated. So if he was the creator of all things, nothing must have created him, right? There was only God and everything else. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. John's talking about Jesus here, we should all know this verse. And I already established earlier that it was only God, right? So if the Word was with God, then how was it only God? Unless the Word is God himself. Can you go to the next slide? It said in John 1:18, later in that same chapter, "No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him." This shows the relationship between God and Jesus, how they were very personal, and in the beginning of time they were together, Father and Son, and he was in the bosom, and the bosom here isn't the literal bosom of God, but it is the spiritual and emotional connection between them, that they're close, shows his closeness. Then, so to establish it further, God says in Genesis 1, verse 26 and 27, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness." And obviously these are plural verbs, plural pronouns, and that refers to more than one person. It is obvious here that God is referred to as more than one person, and you really can't argue that at this point. And it says here that God is love. So, given our experience from earlier, we established that love is interpersonal, that it requires more than one person. If God is love, doesn't that mean that he requires somebody else to love? He requires more than one person to be loving with. In the beginning was the Word was with God. This is restating the John 1:1 from earlier. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now that we have established that God is more than one person, we can understand the many facets of him and his personalities through Jesus, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And Genesis 1:2, this establishes the Holy Spirit was also in the beginning of time. The earth was without form, void, darkness was in the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering above the face of the waters. This establishes that all three of them together were in the beginning of time. And then in Deuteronomy 6:4, Moses states that, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." And why is this a significant thing to say? If God was only one, as like many people tend to argue, then this would be insignificant. Of course the Lord is one. It's only one person, of course he'd be one. But this states that if we think about it in context now, this establishes that the three facets of God, the Father, the Son, the Spirit, are all united as one being, although they are three different entities. It's further established in John 10:30, "I and my Father are one," and there's no debate that they are all three facets in one person. And the main thing to get from Trinity here is the Father is God, but not all of God. The Christ is God, but not all of God. And that the Holy Spirit is also God, but not all of it. They work together as a team and they work together as a team to become this one entity. And we as Christians should likewise think that way. We should unite with our fellow brothers, not have maybe competition so much and argue with them, see who's more right and who's wrong, but work with each other. And this is the perfect example. The Trinity is the perfect example of a team, perfect example of relationship. And this is what we should all strive to be. Thank you.
Amen.